the Rams beat the Seahawks yesterday. It was weird. It was not well officiated. Both sides. The Seahawks got hosed in a couple. Puka's ejection, I didn't think it was well officiated. I thought it got out of hand. But this was just about great coach, Sean McVay, great quarterback, Matt Stafford, and a really good rookie safety for the L.A. Rams. They willed their way to win. Couldn't run the ball, ugly first half, special teams blunder, Puka gets ejected. There was a dozen reasons to lose this game. They couldn't run football, which really surprised me. But sometimes in the NFL, the answer is just as simple as, yeah, we have a great coach, great quarterback, and one great defensive player making plays, and we're really good in the big moments. It had a Kansas City Chiefs feel to it, where in the very high leverage moments, like in the red zone, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, the Rams had the better coach, the Rams had the better quarterback, the Rams made fewer mistakes. Now, I'm not saying they're the Kansas City Chiefs, but the Chiefs are about, one or two weapons, great quarterback, good O-line, great coach, and one or two defensive players making a big play, and they win the big moments. They don't always win the entire game. And the Rams' first half was one of their worst halves of the season. They couldn't do anything right. But over the course of a game, their red zone defense was A+. They stuffed them on a 3rd and 1 and a 4th and 1 in overtime, and they were tremendous on big moments. Even Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford was not great the entire game, but in overtime he had a perfect passer rating. He was 3 for 3. And according to Elias Sports, Matt Stafford's game-winning touchdown, 13th career game-winning pass in the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter overtime, that broke a tie with Dan Marino. Second most ever since the NFL merger in 1970 with Tom Brady. So I've said this before. If you take Mahomes out of the league, and maybe Lamar and maybe Josh Allen, who do you want? Minute 30, minute 40 left, high leverage situation. He didn't even have his number one receiver. Their offensive line still has injuries on the interior. They've got rookies and backups all over the interior of their offensive line. And here was Sean McVay on the gutty win.
What a unique, weird game that was. What a job by our group to be able to come away with the win. I was really proud of the way that we came out in the second half. They had all the momentum. We did a lot of things to beat ourselves. You're down 13-3, and we found a way to be able to get it tied up after a couple drives apiece. Like you guys have heard me say, there's no style points in this league. I think we want to do some things a lot cleaner. There's going to be a lot of things that we can learn from.
Yeah, and by the way, second draft in a row for the Rams. You can put that up. Their draft picks on defense, they have a safety from Tennessee that was undrafted. He had another interception. Kitchens, the kid from Miami, the safety. Jared Verse, unblockable. Second draft in a row. They got rid of Aaron Donald, and I told you, they're going to be fine up front. They have really concentrated the last 2 years on defense in the draft, and they have yet to miss on a defensive player. They've hit on all of their defensive players, and now they got a safety out of Tennessee who was undrafted, who's become a leader on the back end.
Okay. That's the end of the, Rams aspect of it. So, yeah. Listen, I feel like I think I may have said this before, but it bears repeating. The Rams are one of the best run franchises in the NFL, right? One of the best coached and has one of the best quarterbacks. But because of injury, bad luck, right? Especially post-Super Bowl, and just the sheer fact that Matthew Stafford is just an older quarterback, so people already kind of look at Matthew Stafford through that lens. The prestige and the respect of the Rams is so much lower than it needs to be. I'm not saying that the Rams are going to go on this huge run and win a Super Bowl, and then next year they're going to win a Super Bowl. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that either, but I'm not going to go off and say that. But what I am saying is that people fail to understand who the Rams are, right? They have been a top caliber team for years, especially since they won the Super Bowl. They've had bad luck with injuries. It's just that clear. And they've had top quarterback play, top coaching, top weapons. They've been able to rebuild in the draft, especially defensively, as Colin pointed out, and even offensively, getting some steals. And that has just shown you how consistent this team has been. Compare it to the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys had some injuries. They've had some problems. And yet they look like they are one of the most poorly run franchises. They have completely fallen apart. Yet we've won 12 plus we've had 12 plus wins, 3 years in a row. We're prestigious. We're the best. We're the top. And yet everyone talks about the Cowboys, right? People every year like the Cowboys can win the Super Bowl. The Cowboys can win the Super Bowl. Dak Prescott's the MVP. And yet no one really talks about the Rams in that light, right? The Rams won the Super Bowl, and it almost feels like many people think it was almost like a fluke kind of a thing, right? Like it's just like not even talked about really. And I get it, because at this point it's already been years ago, and you're not going to just keep reliving, in that past. So I get it. I do. And again, there was bad luck with injuries, Stafford going down, right? It's just the way that season unfolded. And then even last year, there were some injuries. It took a second for them to get going. Then they finally did, but then they couldn't, pull off the one playoff win against the Lions. And then you have this year, they hit the ground running injury-wise, and now, right? So I get how we got here, right? I do get how, especially the average casual fan, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but just a person who's just not locked in to the NFL or this team, I can understand where they're just like, oh yeah, the Rams, like, yeah, they're a pretty good team. They won a Super Bowl, a few years ago, or what was that, 2019, 2018? What year was that? I don't know. And Matthew Stafford, he's a good quarterback, right? But I guess he's old now. And Sean McVay was, really popular, and he was going to get paid $200 million for Amazon, but like, you don't really hear much from him anymore. Like, I get how you can get there. But when you really look at the team, you really look at what they're able to do, how they're able to win, how they've been able to stay afloat over the last couple of years with, an inconsistency in health and people in now the lineup, it's pretty remarkable, because we see other teams completely crash and unravel, right? We see it time and time again. And yet it doesn't happen for the Rams. And that shows you the culture they have, the leadership they have, the talent that they have at the key positions, aka Matthew Stafford, quarterback. Like, Matthew Stafford will probably go down, ironically, maybe even Jared Goff as well, quite frankly, will go down as the most underrated quarterback of the last 10 plus years or so. It's hard to imagine who else could really beat them for that, especially Stafford. Like, there's still such a confusion of just how great. I've had so many conversations where we talk about, who's a top quarterback in the NFL, who's great. And it's like people still want to act like Stafford is not that dude, right? Is not that guy. And it's just like, again, I think I definitely said this before. It's like, if you want to debate how great Matthew Stafford is, right? Like, you're on your own, bud. You go enjoy that debate, that conversation, by all means. And if you want to debate how great of a head coach and a leader Sean McVay is, again, you're on your own, because I'm not going to sit here and waste my time and energy with that. So if the Rams can continue to get healthy, stay healthy, and not get players kicked out of games and stuff like that, I'm really, really fascinated to see just how far this team can go. I think Dan Orlovsky kind of came out. I think it was Orlovsky, or if it was Rex Ryan or whoever, said that they can go out and win it all, right? They can win a Super Bowl. I might react to that clip and break down that clip. I haven't watched it. I just saw the quote of it. But then I saw Colin do this, and so I figured I'd go this direction first. But yeah, a really big win, a tough win, a less than ideal way to win. But still great all around. And it is. I still do find it funny that the average fan and the average media member just still seems to underestimate the incredibly high level and highly run, Rams team. And it's they're going to surprise some people this season. Again, as long as they can stay healthy, people are going to be like, where did the Rams come from? And it's like, they've always been here. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Rams? Big overtime win against the Seahawks. Biggest takeaways from their 3-game win streak. Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.